Hey everybody, Jason Banata here at Banata Fabrication. Well, I'm working on Venom's second chassis today, and I was going to go over a few things with you, show you some tricks on shaving all the holes out on what's left of the frame rails, and I'm going to go over some different pricing with you all and the options between Venom's current chassis that I got quite a few customers copying, Venom's next chassis, which I'm starting on now, that I've already got several customers copying, and then we'll go over one other option besides that. You'll be surprised how you can go from one level of suspension to another without a lot of money being involved, but I've done all the math and I'm gonna make it simple. We're gonna go over all that. But first I wanted to show you all something. So this is what we're starting with. Two 8.5 foot long frame rails. You cut the frame rails 1.5 inches behind these two holes to in preparation for the Porterbuilt back half. So I've started welding a lot on this. I started welding all the holes on the bottom, all the holes on the top. Plus you all see that this big ear that sticks off here. I always cut that out and fill it in. We've got another ear on the bottom of both frame rails that I have no idea what they're for. This has it, Venom's other chassis has it. I see it all the time. Cut those out, flattened them, and then where the well, this stuck out for the idler arm, a shock mount, whatever that was, emergency brake maybe. I cut all those out, fill them in. This is where the steering box was, shock mount again. Plus this divot here is also over here, that's gone. And then the emergency brake thing that's stuck out. So now there's nothing sticking out, it's all flat. So I'm not gonna weld any of these holes shut yet, because there's so much undercoating on here. It's ruining all my flap disc and just slinging it everywhere. So this goes to sandblasting tomorrow, and I'll do that when I get it back. Then I'll send these to sandblasting too. Mine were fairly rusty on top. These don't cost much. So another reason I went to the complete back half is I had quite a bit of rust in the spring mount area, which probably would have been gotten rid of by installing the notches from the level 3 drop member. But for $1,600 more, I could get a complete back half. So you're literally getting half a frame for $4 grand, where the drop member is $2,400. They're not a big difference. So that means half my chassis plus this whole front drop member is going to be like a work of art. So one other thing I want to go over in this is when you're welding your holes shut, if you're welding them on top, like here I welded holes shut, you can't see. If you're welding down, gravity's pulling that down. I tend to put brass behind them, but then I realize when I'm sitting here on my stool welding these, because we're vertical now, you can weld them holes shut in about 18 seconds with no copper behind it. It's super fast. Gravity's working with you because you're just gonna start at the top of the hole and just weave your way back and forth till it's shut. Now, something else to remember is don't weld these holes shut. Don't weld these holes shut. These are for the drop member. These are for the sway bar. There's other ones on here too. Don't accidentally be welding along. You got your blinders on when your hood's on. You just be welding away and end up accidentally welding these holes shut that you need. You got to drill them back out, which isn't a big deal, but it's a waste of time. So either circle those with a piece of chalk, put a bolt in them or something. Okay, so let's go over the math here. All right, so here's our level 3 drop member. You get the cross member, the tubular training arms, the rear monster notches that are bolt in, and the bridge. This is all bolt in. You don't need a welder to do any of this. Then you get the bags and shocks separately, which I have on the website as well, with this as options. And you get a Watts link, which you can't see in the picture. I'll show you what a Watts link is here in a minute. It's a much better option than the Panhard bar. Pretty much everyone's going to a Watts link, and then unless they're running a triangulated 4-link. Okay, so this is actually selling better, even though it's $4 grand versus the what, $2,400 for the other one. You just get so much more. So you get the complete back half, both those cross members, parallel 4-link, Watts link again. So if you got any rust pitting anywhere, like I had a ton of rust pitting back here, because I think the tires so salt back there, and then because Missouri we have a lot of that, so it just ate it all up. So it doesn't even matter now. It's all gone. Also, if you do the frame sniffer, which I do have in Venom's chassis here and his future chassis, they're gonna take this out, take off $300, incorporate this into the frame stiffener, whether you're doing the back half or the drop member. They're gonna do that on either one. So your $1,500 frame stiffener is gonna become $1,200 for that reason. Okay, so the reason I'm building the new chassis for Venom is I love this chassis. It's pretty freaking cool. There's a frame stiffener, Performance Online trailing arms, my bag relocation kit that moves the bags from here to here. You don't want your bags by your axle when they're double bellows. That's a 1-to-1 ratio. That is wrong. You want them up towards the middle of the arm. That's a 2-to-1 ratio. That's what these are designed for. Sleeve bags go back here. You can put them here, here, on top. Most people put them back here. My Porterbuilt setup comes up with them back there. So, oh, and this is the Watts link. This keeps the rear end centered throughout the travel. There it is. And everything you see on here is all on my website. So the Watts link's pretty cool. It looks complicated, but it's not. It's simple. Okay, so that's my rear setup. Trailing arms, Watts link, bags, shock relocators. Up front, we've got the Porterbuilt control arms, sway bar, and no limit rack and pinion kit. Okay, all pretty nice stuff. The issue is with this, my truck lays out at 4 inches here, 5 inches here. The problem is that's where I want to drive the truck. That's where Guinea Pig's sitting right now. That's my pre-programmed ride height. To air Venom up to drive it, I'm gonna have like a 7-inch ride height. I don't want that. So I decided just to build a whole new chassis because it needs to lay frame like Guinea Pig does, so I can air it up to ride height. So I got the trailing arms and Watts link, that's $1175. Then we're gonna compare that to the back half, which is $4,000. Take out that $1175. We only have a $2,825 difference to go from the trailing arm setup to a complete back half. Then we come down here to my front setup. I've got control arms, the rack, the sway bar, and then we're gonna compare that to the front drop member, which is right here. Yeah, it's $2,500 for the drop member, $349 for sway bar, $353 for rack and pinion, $3,202 minus what I have going on. So for $537 more, you can go from the control arms and sway bar and no limit rack all to a full drop member. Then if you go from my rear setup to just their back half, which is right here, or drop member, I mean, that's $2,400 minus the $1,175 I have in mind. You're only going to spend $1,225 more to go from my trailing arm setup to a full level 3 drop member. Just remember, they're two completely different things. That is your level 3 drop member. That is your back half. So to go from what I have now to the front drop member and a full back half is gonna be a total of $3,362. Yeah, there's a difference for the rear, there's a difference for the front. So I'm gonna spend $3,362 more going to full back half and full front drop member and literally having 75% of my chassis completely aftermarket. So this chassis here, including $5,000 worth of big brakes, is just under $13,000. So if you want to do this and then do the brakes later, like you got to save bigger money, take $5,000 out of that. This new setup, the back half and everything, here's a couple frame stiffener kits. But anyway, all this is going to be around, well, that price difference I just showed you, around $17,000. A lot of people ask me, why don't you just do an aftermarket chassis? Well, aftermarket chassis are roughly $22,000 to $28,000, so it is not a wash at all. It's still another $5,000. This truck, Guinea Pig, is getting a Porterbuilt chassis. I got to put my deposit in probably this week, and I'll get it in, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. But I get this other truck done first, so the chassis can just sit here and look pretty for a while. But if you're building like the ultimate show truck and you can afford whatever, definitely go with an aftermarket chassis. But if you're more on a budget, or you're like me, this is my driver, I don't need a $22,000, $28,000 chassis under it. I'm gonna do it this way. Plus I really enjoy seeing what I can do with the factory frame. I like to kind of take that 50-year-old frame full of holes and just kind of a mess and see if I can turn it into a work of art, which isn't too hard to do. I did that all in this one. We've got, there's no holes in it. They're all welded shut. It's all powder coated. Something else, powder coating will hide some stuff because it's got some thickness to it. You're basically melting powdered paint onto your thing, your chassis. But if you're gonna paint it, you can take like all these little imperfections. I'm still gonna weld those shut. You can just skim coat this with body filler, hit it with a DA, primer it, hit it with DA again, seal it and paint it. I did that on Guinea Pig's chassis over here. I body worked it to get it perfect, and that worked out real well. Anyway, I believe that's everything I wanted to cover. So all this stuff we went over is all on the website, vanatafabrication.com. Let me just go there. CVA. So there's my website. Just go here, go down to here, and you can start looking through parts. This is all in alphabetical order. So let's just go down to P for Porterbuilt. Whoops, too far. Well, actually, it's probably on the 3rd page now. We're pushing 400 different parts for C10s on here. So it's going to be on the 3rd page, or just go up to the search bar, put in Porterbuilt. You can actually put in any of those keywords. There it is. So there's everything Porterbuilt makes. So whether you're looking for Porterbuilt, Ring Brothers, Dakota Digital, Vintage Air, just use the search bar and it'll get you right there. So anyway, that's everything. Just remember, vanatafabrication.com will get you all those things. I'm also having multiple front drop members, rear drop members, back halves, frame stiffeners, sway bars, all being built right now. I'm getting ready to put in an order from the very front cross member that goes right here, replaces that. And then, the bed mounts for a raised bed floor. I've already put in an order for some of those. Also that back half, you can run 15-inch wide tires. They did not narrow the chassis. They just took the suspension and put it on the inside to give you tire clearance. So you can still run the Boyd's welding fuel cell, which I also have on there. But like I said, every single thing you see in these videos is all on the website because my trucks are built off the website. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.